I'm Kermit Ross, and I pledged in fall of '63, which was exactly 60 years ago. I majored in mathematics. I started in the fall of 1961, and I graduated in January of 1965. I'm originally from here in Indiana in Hamilton County, a little town of Cicero. We live in Frisco, Texas, which is the north suburb of Dallas, sort of like the Carmel of Indianapolis. Well, the Reamer Club was an organization at that time confined to junior and senior men. So it was probably maybe a little raucous and less civilized than it might be today, or who knows, maybe the other way around. But we met on Monday nights. We met in the Memorial Union in a room in the top floor, down the hall, and way off where nobody could hear us, I guess. The club would convene and have the business meeting. The pledges, which were called skatas at the time, would have a room of their own, and the pledges were required to provide popcorn, and the Reamers, the actives ate it. So then after the regular business meeting, the pledges would file in and get up in the front and undergo some interrogation about Purdue's traditions, about what they do, what they'd been doing, and then we'd close with fair weather, and away we'd go. Well, it was called Rough Night, and we went. We gathered someplace, I can't remember where. We were blindfolded, and then we went out River Road north of town, and there's a nature preserve of some kind out there. And I remember we worked all night. We cleared, I think our class we cleared a toboggan run, or what was going to be a toboggan run down one of the hills, and so we cut wood all night. And then in the very early hours, we trudged back up River Road and gathered at the foot of the hill where David Ross is buried, and we were blindfolded. So the actives were up at the top of the hill, and they would call out a name, and they would say, follow the sound, and they'd keep saying that, and you had to find your way literally in the dark up the hill. And when you got to the top of the hill, the actives were each allowed to administer one blow of swift and just punishment with the paddles, and then you were unblindfolded, and that was it. After everybody had undergone that, and I was last because I was president of the pledge class, but after everybody had undergone that, we adjourned to a little hamburger joint called the B&G, which was at the time right across University Avenue from the Armory. And by the way, the place was actually called the Barf and Gag, but and we had breakfast. And then I think later on we had a little ceremony. Maybe we later had a dinner together, and a ceremony where we got all the trappings, the pins and things like that. Well, the club carried on, of course, the traditions. My proudest personal moment was when I was elected president of the club, which was in the fall of '64. And that was, that was something that, I was proud of then, and I still am. At the time, we had a trailer for the Boilermaker Special, and we had a presence at every football game. Before the football games, we would circulate around campus, and to raise money, we sold balloons filled with helium. That the first touchdown, the people in the stands would release the balloons. It's not an environmentally friendly thing that we did then, but we did very well that year, as I recall, with the balloons. We ran parking lots. We had a really prosperous year. We had a really active year where we did a lot of stuff as far as the presence on campus, and I think just being part of an organization like that, where you saw the Reamers every day, one way or another, at Lions or the Boilermaker Special cruising around. It's the only organization that I can recall at Purdue that had that kind of a presence on campus. Some you'd see at the football games, or around the football games, but we were kind of always there and really a part of Purdue. And I think pretty proud of that as a tradition, and I hope the club has carried that on. Yeah, I think that at the time we were at every basketball game. We sat together, and of course every football game, and we had a representation of a lot of the other athletic programs. We were always well represented, and this was before the days of the extra special. It was in the days of Boilermaker Special 3. But we managed to do a lot with that, that train and the trailer that we pulled behind it sometimes. Football weekends, we'd give rides and things like that. The Reamer Club I always had, after the homecoming game, had a homecoming party for returning Reamers. And in those days, there was a thing in the spring called Gala Week. And there was a party, for returning Reamers there. It was generally an alumni, so we were in the thick of things, and that's, I think, true of the Reamer Club then, and seems to be true now, and that I'm really proud of that. Pledging the Reamer Club, you learn how to work with a group of people who are all strong people and active and involved people. They're your pledge brothers and now sisters, and you learn how to work together and have fun doing it and get things done. Because if you don't get things done, you're in trouble with the actives. And then being involved with the Reamer Club, it was I can't remember exactly. We had maybe about 25 members in those days as far as active membership, and so it was inevitable that you were expected to take on some kind of a leadership role. I was recording secretary my first active semester, and then I was president the spring or fall semester my senior year. So the ability to take on a leadership role in a group of people that were strong people, in and of themselves, you learn how to lead and get things done. And that applies to anything you do later in life. It certainly has for me, is to function in a group of strong people and get things done. Lions is, that's one of the ways we showed our faces and raised our voices on campus on a regular basis, but it was also fun, to do both as a skataw myself, but then later, as an active in the club. And I know that's still going on, and I'm glad. I pledged the club 60 years ago, but there hasn't been a day in my life since then that I haven't had some kind of memory or interaction of some sort with the club, or of some kind. And of course, a few years back, a group of us from the mid-'60s organized kind of a reunion, and that was instigated by the people that I was in touch with at the time and stayed in touch with, and just getting back and seeing people from those days, and that's been a part of my life, and I still got my pot, I still got my paddle, I've still got my R. I'm a card-carrying reamer from those days, so that's been a part of my life. I think that actually, when we lived in Minnesota, my oldest daughter, I drove her to high school on the way to my work every day, and so we had this tradition. At least it was my tradition, that we sang a Purdue song. We on the way to high school, and she had to sing along, and she knows them. And although she didn't go to Purdue, she can sing those songs, and that's just part of our has been part of our family tradition. What impresses me and makes me proud of Purdue is that I was here 60 years ago, and Purdue, I can't recall a year since when I haven't noticed something about Purdue that and felt good that Purdue was getting better. And I also I've observed the Reamer Club. I get the emails and the newsletters and things like that. And over the years, the club has gotten better. It's gotten I think adding women to the mix is a good thing, and I'm proud of the club for having done that and taken the initiative to do that. And so the club has gotten better. And I think that when you're a part of an organization of any kind, a university or a student organization in the club, and you learn how to get better. And so I like to think I've gotten better. And I think that's the great thing about the Reamer Club is and it'll stay the great thing about the Reamer Club for another 100 years, at least.